Hello everyone, the next argument is say number 18, weather and local news instead of national news. Write a response in which you examine the stated or unstated assumptions of the argument. Be sure to explain how the argument depends on these assumptions and what the implications are for the argument if the assumptions prove unwarranted. The following is a memorandum from the business manager of a television station. Over the past years, our late-night news program has devoted increased time to national news and less time to weather and local news. During this period, most of the complaints received from viewers were concerned with our station's coverage of weather and local news. In addition, local businesses that used to advertise during our late-night news program have cancelled their advertising contracts with us. Therefore, in order to attract more viewers to our news programs and to avoid losing any further advertising revenues, we should expand our coverage of weather and local news on all our news programs. The author supposed that the problems of the television station described in the memorandum are caused by the change of the news format. The station increased their attention to national news and decreased their attention to weather and local news. However, on the basis of the information in the memorandum, one cannot decide if this conclusion is correct or not. The first assumption is that people are concerned about the time devoted to weather and local news. The first thing that strikes one's eyes is the sentence. During this time period, most of the complaints received from viewers were concerned with our station's coverage of weather and local news. There is no evidence that complaints are connected with the change described in the memorandum before. These complaints might be connected with something else, for example, with a bad anchor or lack of specific information like wind speed or amount of precipitations on the next week. If so, this specific evidence will weaken the argument. On the contrary, if there were evidence that the most of the complaints claim that the audience wants to hear more about weather and local news instead of national news, it would strengthen the argument. Next assumption, there was a considerable number of complaints from viewers. At the same time, one does not know how many complaints were received and how long was the period. For instance, the television station could receive 1 million complaints during 1 month, and most of them it's a big number. Such information would strengthen the argument. On the contrary, it might be 10 complaints for 1 month, and 8 of them were concerned with our station's coverage of weather and local news. In this case, the additional information would weaken the argument. Assumption number 3. Local businesses have cancelled their advertising contracts primarily due to less time devoted to weather and local news. In the next sentence, a reader will fairly ask, does local businesses that used to advertise during our late news program have cancelled their advertising contracts with the station because of the claimed reason? Are there other reasons for that? For example, local business persons could find other ways for advertisement, the internet, the radio, billboards, etc. Moreover, these ways could become cheaper or more popular and effective. Such evidence will weaken the argument. On the other hand, if business persons cancelled their contracts exactly because of the change, the argument would be strengthened. And the last assumption, devoting more time to local news and weather will allow to attract more viewers. The number of viewers could decrease since people who are interested more in national news would not watch the channel. Therefore, the lack of information opens the question, will the station attract more viewers to the program and avoid losing any further advertising revenues if they bring back the previous format of the news? On the basis of the given information, we can only suppose, but not know exactly. Thanks for watching. Bye.